Hello, hi, and welcome to Empathic Fire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Cancer in August 2020. Hello, Cancer. How are you guys doing? I hope that you are doing well. All right, guys, if you are first-time viewer of my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a returning viewer, that's also amazing. Thank you as well for being here. Everyone is welcome. Cross-watchers, sun sign Cancer, sun, moon, rising, whatever reason you're here to view this video, I appreciate you being here. Happy belated birthday if this is your first time seeing me or you didn't see any of your July or June messages, Cancer, as your season just completed. I hope you guys had an amazing time out wherever you were, celebrating yourselves, being presented with love and affection by those who do have love and affection for you. Hope it was a great time, okay? Cancer, here we are in August 2020. My gosh. Wherever you are in the world, please continue to be safe, happy, and healthy, whatever you're doing. Still a pandemic, friends, so let's all keep our heads in the game and continue to practice, what we must do in order to keep ourselves healthy and, upright. Anyway, let's get into it. Cancer. Oh, quick shout out to a subscriber, a client, and now a very good friend of mine, Vanessa. She made this bracelet for me while she was on vacation, sent it to me in the mail. I really do appreciate her. And so, when you get love, you gotta give love and all that good stuff. So to show my appreciation and to let everyone know that she's such a awesome person, just wanted to let you guys know that I've got a cool fan and subscriber and client and friend, and I really do appreciate her. So hi Vanessa, if you're watching. I don't think she would be watching a Cancer reading, but there. I like to share. When people give things to me, I like to share good tidings, or that's not even correct, but whatever. So Cancer, let's go ahead and get into your reading. I have shuffled off camera. That's your main spread there. I will shuffle on camera now for your outcome and your overall energy. When all the cards are out and they're lying face up on the table, that's when the reading begins. Timestamps already in the description box if you want to jump ahead. Also down there is the information you need if you want to purchase a personal reading with me. If you have a question before you place an order for a personal, just go ahead and email me at the same address and I'll answer you as soon as I can. Also down there, you're going to see the link to my Instagram account, EmpathicFire Tarot, over on Instagram. So if you want to follow me, that name will appear here again, just in case you missed it in the opening. And I do pull oracle cards over there, interpreting them about 2 or 3 times a week. Do some pick a card stuff every once in a while. So if you're interested in following me, just drop me a follow, okay? Anything else? Yes, you will see me go live here on the channel on August the 8th for Leo's birthday season. If you happen to want to eavesdrop on a Leo reading, feel free to join me. Or if you just want to hang out in the chat and talk to me or talk to anybody else who's there, feel free to join me. Again, that will be on August 8th at 7 p.m. usually. Yeah, 7 p.m. Eastern time, okay? All right, Cancer, let's get into it. Please show me Cancer's outcome for August 2020. Outcome for Cancer in August 2020, please show me. Yeah. All right. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. Okay. Couple of repeating players I see. This month I've divided the monthly decks by masculine and feminine energies. So your previous friend Taurus had a couple of cards that I see in your reading. I cut my nails so I can't pick anything up. So I wonder if, I wonder what that means when, we'll see what happens. I'll have to keep note. I'm really just talking to myself at this point. I apologize, guys. All right, let's get into it. Please show me where Cancer is in August 2020. Cancer in August 2020, please show me. One more time, please show me. Clearly. You're really caught between 2 starting positions here, Cancer, but I'm going to go with the one that was slightly larger during that mini meditation, okay? So coming into your reading for August, you come in with the energy of the Strength card. Major Arcana for Leo, could be dealing with a Leo, but you don't have to be. Cancer, it feels as though You might have to make some hard decisions this month. If not hard decisions, you're just having to hold a firm line. I get this almost defiant energy, or you see how the lion is standing up next to the girl and its chest is all poked out and there are arrows, but they've actually hit like the rock cliff near it. So, yeah, there you go. So you see the arrows on the rock cliff, but then the chest of the lion is all out. And is she like reaching up to the lion? Yeah, she's like, okay. So anyway, shots fired because of those arrows, and the lion is like not backing down. It's not running off and hiding. Nor is the female, nor is the woman or pictured there. So I get the sense that some of you could be under some type of attack, some type of adversity, some type of clash between you and another person or other people. Could be disagreements, could be arguments, could be, you know, just a debate. It could be a heated debate, something like that. But I feel as though Cancer, you're really standing your ground and you're not settling for less, or you're not letting people steamroll you. That's very good. It feels, oh God, okay. I'm only saying this phrasing in response to, or speaking directly to your archetype, your animal archetype, which is a crab, right? And the line that popped into my head was, you finally have a backbone. Now that's not a knock on you as a person. I don't know you personally, so there's no way that I could make such a claim. But, you know, a crab is a crustacean, right? It doesn't have a backbone, right? But a lion, a mammal, does. So there's something about your really defining yourself, or defining your place, your status. Interesting. You're like claiming your space, claiming yourself, claiming whatever. And it's might be read as defiant. It might be read as narcissistic, or not narcissistic, but egotistic, let's say, right? And that, for you're the fourth reading that I'm doing for the August readings, but that has kind of been in the previous three, where there is a lot of ego going on, and we are going into Leo season. We are headed towards Lion Gate on 8/8, right? So there is a lot of people, or a lot of energy within the collective, kind of kind of strutting their stuff in a way. And I think you're no different, but the reasoning why is obviously going to be different, or the manner in which you're going to do it is going to be different per person, right? So I like that for you. It feels really strong. It feels really bold. It feels very self-proclaimed and self-possessed, and that's really important. At least in the work that I do with clients, is like a lot of people come and they're like, I don't know what to do. And then it's like, you do know what to do. It's just you have to lean into and get past that uncertainty, like push past your fear, push past any naysayers, even your own mind, even your own subconscious, and get to that point of strength. And I think that's what you're doing. It feels like that's what this feels like a crescendo moment, like you've built up to this, okay? So let's see what else is happening for you. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. So you're definitely in this space of making moves, of changing your circumstances, and there might be blowback, but I think, like I just was saying about this strength card and that being your initial energy, you're kind of turning a blind eye, or silencing out those voices, silencing out any naysayers, okay? So to compound this strength energy, I think what you're doing is you're tinkering. That's an interesting word. You're tinkering with something. You might literally, be doing that. The Magician, secondary major for Gemini and Virgo. You could be dealing with either of those signs, or not at all. It is still a general reading. You might be tinkering, like you literally might be, in your spare room, in your garage, wherever, fiddling with something, or using your hands, getting very mechanical, some of you. Not all of you, clearly. But the reason that they're showing me that is, the real reason they're showing me that is because of the computer game the PC games, The Sims, right? Tinkering and working with hands is a way for characters in The Sims to build their skills, right? And to become more knowledgeable about something. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. You might be doing hands-on building, construction, woodworking, artistry. You might be, making handmade jewelry, putting shit up on your Etsy shop, whatever. As you do this work, for those where you're doing something with your hands, I'll address the other group who's not really in that space. But for those where you're physically creating something, working on something, fixing something, this is therapeutic for you, this is meditative to you, and this is also enhancing your abilities as a manifester, okay? Like I just said about the person who might be putting something up on their Etsy shop. You might be doing it on a lark, or you might be doing it with not, that great an expectation, but best believe that if you harness the energy correctly, you will get into this manifestation point that the magician usually comes in and indicates that someone is a co-creator with the universe, right? So if you are doing something with your hands, making items for sale, right? But your mind isn't necessarily aligned with that, you need to challenge yourself and you need to align your mind with the actions that you're doing. Basically, whatever action you're doing, your attitude and what you're hoping to get out of it or what you might need. You might not even know what you need, right? You might not know what exactly you're moving towards at this moment. But if you open yourself up and get into a spiritual space, because what is the magician? It is a person who works with all the elements at their disposal, the pentacles, the wands, the swords, and the cups, right? So the physical aspect, the wands and the pentacles is what you're doing by creating something. And then you have to align your mind, your swords, as well as your emotions, your heart, and what you desire deep down inside with what you're physically doing. So if you're trying to open a business, or if you're trying to, fix up your car, or, change the damn engine out of your car, whatever you're doing, if all of it's not aligned, it won't be successful. And the magician knows that. So you have to be, this is very interesting that this is coming across in this way. Like I'm seeing a bunch of people doing things, baking bread, starting a home bakery, whatever. It's like that act of creating, or the act of doing, if not creating, just doing something, even if it's not for profit, even if it's not for a business, if you're just crafting for the sake of crafting, or you want to start learning how to sew or knit because you're home, working from home, and it's kind of, a lull in your life, to align all of the parts of yourselves, to utilize all the elements that you have both inside and outside of yourself. That is how you co-create with the universe. It indicates, God, I can't even go into the whole thing, but it's a good indicator. This energy coming beneath your strength energy as you stand up for yourself, as you kind of, it's like you're making a mark, but you don't know that you're making a mark yet. For some of you, you do know, like you're very conscious of this action. You're very conscious of your efforts. You're very conscious of your goals. Others of you, you're kind of like going with the flow, and it's not 100% clear to you yet why you're doing what you're doing, but you have to do something, okay? Now, for those who aren't doing anything, no action, you might be the opposite. You might have the alignment in your head space, in your heart space, utilizing the elements of air and water, swords and cups, right? You might have that aligned, but you might not be physically active or physically demonstrative, right? You could be, sitting on your hands, twiddling your thumbs, not really sure what you want to do or what you want to create. So that would then be the opposite. You need to get your ass in gear and start to utilize everything that the magician needs in order to co-create. So you know your story better than I do. You know your temperament and all that stuff. If you're more spiritual based, but you're kind of lacking in the physical world and the 3D world, you're kind of lost in that space, that's what you need to work on. If you're on the other side, you're very much tuned into the physical world. You're aware of your resources. You're aware of, inventories, and you're hands-on in that way, but you're kind of like, why am I doing this? You might not have a clear eye on what your inspiration is. The opposite problem, it's like a merging. Both sets of Cancers kind of need to take a page out of the other set's book. You know what I mean? Or if this is within you, you need to kind of balance all four of those elements out to make it to your benefit. Okay. This is very self-possessed and very self-aware, and it's interesting that the strength card, like I was saying, it feels as though you're coming up against something or someone. There's some type of resistance. Could be a personal resistance, could be you're avoidant of something, or you're, kind of, you know, apprehensive for some reason within yourself or within your circumstances. I get the sense there is an external person or people, but there might be some distance at this point, okay? I think that's what, yes. Yes, there's distance. Thank you. So the impetus or the starting line of this, so to speak, might be this Eight of Cups energy where I feel emotional fatigue, I feel emotional restlessness or listlessness, right? Where, again, I think overall most of you guys have been like, I'm seeing like leaves, and they fall in a river and they just like go with the flow of the river, and it's just like, it's just going along this river, and it seems purposeless, or it seems like it has no destination. That could be something that was happening for you. You may have lacked inspiration, or you may have lacked purpose or drive or vision for your life, or you may have been in a relationship or some type of entanglement or some type of job or some type of dynamic in your friendships or family circles where you might be surrounded by a bunch of successful people, or people who are in successful relationships. From your standpoint, you think it's successful. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. Stop thinking that way. But anyway, and you may have felt really out of touch, or maybe not out of touch, out of place. Thank you. That's the correct phrasing. Out of place amongst your friends and your family members. And you just never felt like you were a part of something, or you were dealing with someone like this where, Cancer, your natural vibe, it's just a generalization of the zodiac of Cancer, but the natural vibe of Cancers is to make someone feel welcome. You rule the fourth house, that's home and hearth, that's safety, security, the first place of true stability, or trying to stabilize something with others, right? There's a little bit of others in the third house because Gemini has siblings in it, but really the first and the second house, Aries and Taurus, is really mostly about self. So yours is like the first house where we're truly making an effort to unify with others, okay? So your natural archetype most of the time is to not only feel welcomed and secure wherever you are, but to make others feel welcome and secured where they are. Now, it's not to say, for those that are like, hey, Cancers don't walk on water. Of course they don't. That's not to say there isn't a Cancer out there without a bad bone in their body. There are, but that's kind of what I'm feeling here for those where you felt secure, strength, and Magician. You might feel very aware of your purpose and aware of the path that you're on, and you might feel really strong and accomplished in some type of way. And you may have been dealing with someone very recently, it feels like, who just was floating around in the atmosphere like a leaf in the breeze. Just like, wherever the wind blows, that's where that person goes. And I said emotional fatigue. So at this time, plenty of people are feeling exhausted emotionally, mentally and emotionally. People are feeling exhausted for various reasons, but clearly a lot of that is impacted by the pandemic, right? And that's not to say this is an excuse, and I'm not trying to give anybody a pass, whether it be you or someone else. But I just feel as though there's this energy of not being a part of, not feeling welcome, not being able to ingratiate or find a rhythm, find a purpose to what you were doing. Ultimately, when we see the Eight of Cups in tarot, it talks about leaving behind what was in search of something that's more fulfilling, right? Whether that's in a storm off kind of, I've had enough flip tables, slam doors. That might have happened in some of your cases, but I don't think so. This card is very mournful, right? It's very sorrowful. It doesn't look like this person is happy to be making this journey. It doesn't look like they're slamming doors behind them. Good riddance. I don't need you anyway, and I hated it here. It's not angry. This is very sad. This is very disappointed, right? And it could be you, could be someone else. I think in many of your cases, it's someone else. Because like I said, you came in pretty strong. You came in pretty affirmed as to what you're doing or why you're doing it and who you are and all of that. It feels like you're very defined, and you may have been dealing with a person or people who were not defined, or vice versa. You know your path and you know your details better than me, okay? So somebody here didn't know their path, or they're not satisfied with what they've known, right? Like I said, you could be for those cancers that are a little less defined, who are a little less aware of themselves, you may have come into this awareness of being around family and friends who are in certain, like I said, stable relationships, happy relationships. I quote it because, again, we don't know what's going on specifically in those dynamics, but you might be comparing yourself, and comparatively you're feeling like a black sheep. And so you might find that that's not your path anyway. Do you truly want that for yourself? Society tells you, your family and friends tell you, this is the way to go. And you might be thinking, maybe solo life, singlehood is for me. And there's a little bit of sadness there because, I don't know about you, and I'm sure many of us can relate. Your parents worry about your love life. This is just a quick aside, and then we're going to move on. But let's say this was pertaining to love life and your singlehood, and your parents are concerned. Oh, you're this age, and when are you going to find a man? When are you going to find a wife? When are you going to find this? When are you going to have kids? Da 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 da. Like all that chatter, and it's just like there's this presumptive. It's just a big assumption in societies across the world that is what everyone wants for their lives. And there's a shunning or a dismissive energy or attitude or a, shaking your head and feeling pity for people who never find, the one or never settle down. And I don't know that that's the path for everybody. And I think we need to be more okay with accepting that for ourselves, if that's our issue, if that's what we're feeling, right? So I'm speaking to maybe one or two of you who you don't really know why people want to make you feel weird or strange for not wanting to date or not wanting to settle down. You're very content, potentially, feel very accomplished with what you're doing by yourself. And ironically, that kind of leaves you feeling like a loner when it comes to other people who are your age or in your family or whatnot. Does that make sense? So I hope that gives a little clarity to somebody, because you're either dealing with someone like that or that's kind of your path as well. But I feel there's a quiet exit as this Eight of Cups energy goes in search of contentment. Could be you have felt content, but now that, your family's been in your ear, you're kind of second guessing yourself. Am I really happy by myself? But something like that. Why? Yes, thank you. I'm like, why are we so stuck on this love situation? Because it's not love for everybody. But right below that, pardon me, you've got the Lover's card. Major arcana for Gemini. Could be dealing with a Gemini, but you don't have to be. And the Lover's traditionally is about head over heart choices or choices within love, and that very well could play for several of you. I'm not trying to downplay that. And again, it's like this being together, being a part of, being in union. I still think that's very important to most of you guys, but I don't know that it's your primary objective. Like, maybe even traditional union isn't what you're after, right? So let's say you are with a person. This has grown into something else. And it's interesting, the starting point back here, this strong, like bombastic, very like, nobody's going to tell me about myself. I define who I am. This whole, creation through physical action, creation also through mental and emotional balance and integrity. Interesting. But I wanted to say intention, right? There's a lot of assuredness, and then we get here towards the center column or the center row. Yeah, column is, I guess, more appropriate, but whatever. And then there's like this emotional uncertainty, or there's this emotional question mark, and there's this interest in unity, there's this interest in belonging, whereas your first row was really was not really caring about who accepted you or who was on your team. The second row is more like, well, who's going to be by my side? So maybe some of you are like that, questioning who is meant for me. Is the person I'm with, are they meant for me? Interesting. Some of you have a person from the past on your mind. Recent past. Could be a recent breakup or a recent dissolving of a relationship, and you're kind of like scratching your head about it, or I don't want to say regretting, but reflecting, more than regretting, reflecting on what happened between you and this person and why they are significant. This is about, this is striking me as significant partnership. I don't want to limit it to romantic love, but it feels highly in that area. For those where this is about, losing touch with friends, walking away from, a business deal to strike out on your own, and you may have turned your back on a business partner that you've known for, the past 20 years of your life, something like that. It could feel like a breakup. And so that's why I want to open this up to more than just romantic entanglements, because it's impossible that all of you would be feeling this way in your romantic life, okay? But regardless, this is about a significant connection with another person. You see, there's two birds of the same species that are kind of blending into like one figure. Like, you really have to study it to see where the one of them begins and the other one, where one of them ends and the other one begins. Thank you. And I feel there's like a fruitful nature here where, yes, because it's next to this Magician card. So there is, or at some point there was, a very fruitful, lucrative, beneficial part of a union, or you might be desiring it now. But there's a disconnect because the Eight of Cups is above it. So you walked away, they walked away, things fizzled out, people change, plans change, whatever. Something happened. And I think this is ruminating around in your mind. And that could be what's going on over here. Instead of spinning your wheels and being plagued by this, your answer is to get busy. Like we were talking with the Strength card and the Magician. So instead of sitting around, for many of you, and doing nothing, you're getting busy by creating something. You're getting busy by putting emphasis on your business and starting that up off the ground. You're getting busy, getting into some type of new health regimen, right? You're transmuting is what this is, transmutation. You're taking possibly idle or stagnant or just stale energy of uncertainty, loneliness, feeling different, feeling apart, feeling ostracized, or just whatever, and longing for union, but not really having it with who you were with or who you are with now, or something like that. So in some cases, Cancer, you're being a Cancer, and you're avoiding facing this fully. Let me amend that. You're probably going to end up facing it in an unexpected way, because I feel this Strength and Magician is very much helpful to you. As much as it might at this moment be functioning as an escape, be functioning as, oh, I'll think about that later, or oh, I don't want to think about that, let me go work in the garage. I don't want to, you might get a message from someone, or you might get a phone call, and it's just like, you screen your call, you put your phone down, you go to your little, creative spare room where all your arts and crafts are, and you go in there and you start making, tons of jewelry because you don't want to engage, right? That's avoidant for now. But I think that will eventually turn into some type of clarity or some type of up leveling for you, because this Magician plus that Strength card is really, there's a lot of power in that. That's a powerful combo that is going to help you deal with whatever this is, okay? Now, what's all this? Yeah, so for now, I don't think you or whoever you're dealing with or whoever's going through this, it doesn't have to be you. I could be speaking to whoever you're dealing with or someone of significance in your life, yeah? So for now, I think there's just going to continue to be a lot of uncertainty. Cloudiness is more what it is. Cloudiness. I guess that's the same thing. Cloudiness and uncertainty. Maybe I'm splitting hairs by saying it that way, but Seven of Cups. Yeah. There's this sense of like, you know something, but you don't know anything. And there might be assumptions. There might be misunderstandings or misinterpretations or misinformation that you are absorbing. It could be, yeah. Let me see. I think you're trying to figure something out, and I think possibly, like I was just saying over here, you trying to focus on this, you already know that's not what you're trying to do. Whatever was going on here between the Eight of Cups and the Lovers, I don't think you're actively focused on that. I think, like I was just saying, you're actively trying to avoid it. But in the moments where you find yourself thinking about that person or thinking about your status or thinking about why you feel so lost or adrift or emotionally disconnected or emotionally unavailable or whatever you or they or whatever the situation is, right? The more you think about it, the less you're able to find clarity. And so you end up, like I said earlier, kind of spinning your wheels or circling the drain in a kind of way where nothing comes undone, nothing, whatever's clogged up for you emotionally, Cups, whatever's uncertain for you emotionally just stays in that way. So, yes, because that's what I was saying before with the Strength card. There is this need to refocus because, again, Leo energy in a low vibe can be about ego or being egotistical. I would ask that you kind of raise that and just turn that into self-awareness and self-love and self-care. That's a way of putting self first in a quote-unquote egotistical way, but it's healthy, right? And I'm quoting it because some people will read it as egotistical. You take care of your health and your finances and your home and you're on top of your business, and people are going to be thinking, and you might be less pleasant or less open to pleasantries, so you might become less social in this energy over here, and people will be like, hey, Cancer, what's going on with you? You're turning into a bitch, and you're kind of, and you might, that might be an arrow shot at you, you know, from earlier that we were talking about. Hey, you're not available to me anymore. That makes you a bitch. And you're kind of like, no, that means I'm taking care of myself and you can leave me alone. You know what I mean? And whether it's coming from the person that you're dealing with or someone else, it really doesn't matter. But the more you focus on other people and what you do and do not know, the more you focus on external situations or expectations that people are placing on you and why they're placing it on you and why you feel guilty that your mother or your father or whoever is worried over your love life and they just want to see you happy, but you're saying that you're happy when you're solo and they don't believe you. The more you think about all that other shit, right? It feels as though you're just going to get more into this energy. So the challenge for you, not a challenge, but yes, and they're like, not a challenge. Nope. Okay, so it's, okay, I see. So the challenge, even though most of you probably are eventually going to get to this point, it might be a challenge for some of you. So let's be fair. But the name of the game is to kind of exact that, to strip it away or cut it out. Okay, and who helps you cut it out? The swords. Yes, but the Queen of Swords specifically. Air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You could be dealing with an air sign, but you don't have to be. I think this is a pretty self-contained reading, Cancer, I think you're hitting most of these cards. You're very present in all of these energies, and I think you're very present here. I think this is going to be you for the most part. It could be a friend, it could be someone who supports you, it could be an advisor, anybody who is of wise counsel. But there is a no nonsense air about the Queen of Wands. Okay, if someone's saying, hey Cancer, you're being a bitch, you're going to be like, yeah, I am. What of it? I'm within my right to do that. I'm within my right to be that. Okay, I'm taking full ownership of that word. That word is not an insult. It is absolutely, it's like reclaiming it. It's like, and I'm not saying that's exactly what you're doing, but there's like this where, again, people over here are like throwing arrows or shooting arrows at you, criticizing you, or doubting what you're doing, or they're unsure of why you're behaving the way you are. This over here is why. Because I've gone through, or I've been in this area of uncertainty or emotional fatigue, not knowing what to do with my life, or I've been surrounded by people my whole life who have been accomplished and I haven't felt accomplished, and so I'm done feeling like a sad sack, or I'm done feeling like I should be guilty about that, and I'm going to inject all kinds of pride and purpose and like I'm going to prioritize me, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the way in which I choose to do it is nobody else's business. It's not up for review. It's not up for debate. And so you might get a little sassy. You might get a little snippy with your words, because the Queen of Swords can be a biting figure when it comes to verbal communication. And this is very reactionary, which is, I would prefer it to feel responsive. In some of your cases, this is reactionary because she's been penned in, where she's placed on the board here. She's been penned in by the Seven of Cups, the Lovers, and the Eight of Cups. Those three cards were the most challenging energies thus far, the ones that really brought the complication to your reading, right? So she's kind of in a defensive posture, the Queen of Swords. This could be a friend of yours who's defending you against other people, like, why are you giving Cancer a hard time? He or she is going through something really stressful right now. You don't even know half of what they're going through. Back up. This could be a very good friend of yours, okay? Or it's you're doing that work for yourself. And that's going to be, I gotta be honest, that's going to be a tightrope walk, because the Queen of Swords can go overboard, considering how much murkiness and uncertainty is around her, because the Queen of Swords demands clarity, demands honesty, demands that there's no bullshit in this vicinity. This is a BS free zone, right? So if even yourself, you might be giving some tough love to yourself, but wherever the BS is located, wherever the BS is sourced from, wherever it's coming from, the Queen of Swords is like, nah, not in my presence, and uses her directness to kind of squash it immediately. So if you're dealing with another person who has been in this emotionally challenged or emotionally listless or restless space, this uncertainty, and if it was just this way, let's say you're here, Queen of Swords, there, Strength, and in the Magician. Let's say that was only you, Cancer, but the other person or someone else in your situation was the Eight of Cups, the Lovers, and the Seven of Cups. Those three, your three plus their three, I just had a revelation, so let me get this thought before I go to the revelation. You would be highly resistant to any crap they were bringing to you. I feel there's just such a strong resoluteness coming from one side towards the other. Whether you're the Queen of Swords, Strength, and the Magician, or whether you're Seven of Cups, Lovers, and the Eight of Cups, I don't know. Now, the revelation I had, I can't remember what it was. Maybe I do. Was it like that? Something like that. It wasn't that way. But I know, and it wasn't the three cards that I just pointed out. It wasn't this plus this, and then that plus that plus that plus that. But I know there were three cards out of your 6 that were face down and 3 that were face up. I don't think they correlate to the exact 3 that I just broke this down with, but that to me is another indication that half and half, half and half. So possibly for some of you, half of your energy is here and then half of someone else's energy is here. And there could be, going back to the lovers, there could be overlap, the blending of your energetic bodies or your energetic markers at this time that kind of, for lack of a better word, confuses the reading. Regardless, or again, it's within yourself. You might go back and forth. You might go back and forth between feeling really positive and really, what's that word? Enthusiastic. Thank you. Enthusiastic about your future. You might have all these great plans. You might be doing your best to co-create and block out any detraction from other people or yourself. And then there might be days where you're just like really in a lull. You're really in sort of like a depressed space and you're not really feeling up to the task of meeting your own goals, okay? Your outcome, Cancer, for August is the 9 of Pentacles. So I definitely feel that you're still going to come out relatively on top, okay? I'm not going to say all of you are going to strike it rich, that all of you are going to get, you know, whatever is on your Amazon wish list at this point, or, you know, I'm not saying that the majority of you are going to come into some type of material harvest. No, but the sense of independence, the sense of abundance, the sense of being taken care of, or being able to take care of yourself rather, is very strong. I think you're going to be standing on your own 2 feet in whatever way you're desiring to stand on your own 2 feet, whether that's about your material space, whether that's about your emotional space. It's going to come through. Anything else? Oh, I did say that with Taurus's reading, and that's interesting. So I'll say it here too because it's striking me again. Some of you might be getting a makeover. Some of you might be hitting the salon or the barbershop or going to the spa, and that makes sense. You know, in a lot of places, those types of services are opening back up. Again, please use caution, okay? If people want you to wear a certain item when you go into their store, you should do it. Anyway, so I just get that sense of like being invested with yourself, caring for yourself, taking care of your basic needs, and in some senses spoiling yourself. Not, you know, again, not getting any and all things that you want to buy and going on a shopping spree. I don't recommend that unless you can afford it, okay? So, you know, please be wise with your money. But I think that goes without saying when we talk about the 9 of Pentacles. Usually the 9 of Pentacles indicates someone being very smart with how they spend and being very smart and sophisticated or savvy with how they invest in themselves, period. So if you are worried about bills, I wouldn't recommend, you know, going to a day spa and treating yourself if you haven't paid for your gas, electric, or heating, you know, for like, well, I guess in summer you don't need to pay for heating, but you know what I mean. If you haven't paid your utilities, but you're going to go get your hair done, rethink those priorities, okay? So for the most part, though, Cancer, it feels very positive. This level of self-love that we were kind of talking about early on in the reading, I think is going to show some very good results for you. I think you're going to feel really revitalized, or if not revitalized, comfortable. You know, there's something about the 9 of Pentacles that equals comfort, yeah? Overall energy is the Star card, so this whole reading has dealt with, in some form or fashion, your greater healing, your spiritual healing, in some of your cases, mental and emotional healing, but ultimately coming out on the other end and feeling sort of like you've like you've got new skin, or you've got like a pair of new eyes, like seeing and feeling something for the first time, even though it's not literally that, you know. There is, like I was saying earlier about the Magician, there is for some of you, not all of you, a big spiritual aha that you're going to come to. Because again, I feel like while you're working, while you're tinkering away, while you're creating something, while you're studying something, while you're doing something physical, there might be a light bulb moment and you become enlightened to information you didn't know before, or you might finally understand something that was like racking your brain for weeks or months or even years. And there's just like this quiet, if not internally elated, oh, I get it now, with the star card, okay? Cancer, that is your reading for August. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, if you did like it, there's a like button down below. Hit that for me. If you want to leave a comment, let me know how this resonated in your life. Please do so down below as well. Feel free to share the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. Cancer, I'll be back very soon doing the mid-August readings. I will be on vacation next week, so I'm probably going to do a little something at some point while I'm off. So be on the lookout for that. And again, I will be live on August 8th at 7 p.m. here on the channel for Leo's birthday season. You did have their card come up, so if you have reason to want to spy on a Leo, just come through and say hi, okay? All right, Cancer, I thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care.